First of all, thanks for making time. Great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
Fantastic. Well, you've had a pretty interesting career. You're now 9 months into the job. Let's just go just briefly, just a little bit of background, a couple of the roles, and then what you landed here, and then we'll dive into the questions.
Sure. So, Chetna Mahajan, CIO at Webflow. I joined the company about 9 months ago. This is my third CIO gig, so very excited to be here. And I have joined the company to help scale our technology, our talent, our systems, our processes to match the incredible growth that Webflow is seeing and over the last few years. And my background has really been leading lots of data-driven digital transformations and enterprise technology at high-growth companies. And what really drove me or sucked me into or drew me into Webflow was really our mission, which is to empower anyone to build for the web without ever having to code.
First of all, how's it going? It's been 9 months into the job. Like a year, is this going to be a group therapy session? Like I need to get a couple of other CIOs together. Do I need to ask you what your dreams are or how you're feeling? Or has it been just an exciting time for you?
Exciting. So I love it here. I love our CIO. She also joined, basically, she was a chief operating officer, Linda. She joined as a CEO. She's fabulous. And having a women leader up there, it makes me excited. And leadership is new and who've been in large public companies and taken companies public. So really excited to be with a crowd of good executive leadership and the opportunity to build for scale, build from ground up the entire organizational leadership team at corporate engineering within Webflow. So I'm super excited to be here.
Let's go into detail. What falls under your remit now that may have changed from your previous role, if there was much change? But let's talk a little bit about scope of responsibility.
Sure. So at Webflow, my remit is really spans across the generic ones like business systems, enterprise systems, ID operations, corporate security, and compliance. And what's net new here at the company is really driving companies' internal AI strategy and being accountable and responsible for one of three OKRs in the company. That's exciting. And essentially, really everything that enables our teams to operate efficiently and even securely so that we can scale and drive the business outcomes that the company needs. So pace, productivity, innovation, all of that.
Is it fair to assume that you're now seeing more CIOs effectively taking on an AI leadership role? I mean, look, having a chief AI officer is still a very new thing. I think I would compare it to having a chief data officer maybe 10 years ago, and that's the same parallel. Would you agree with that assessment?
Absolutely. I truly see the CIO role really expanding to really driving internal AI strategy, lot of using applied AI and enterprise. We have really, I think, transcended from the traditional technologist role, if you will, in companies to really driving business outcomes, business strategy, all of that. So yes, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about automation, which has been top of mind. It's kind of the starting point for a number of AI initiatives. Being able to autonomously manage or deliver a particular output. How should CIOs and IT leaders be thinking about automation now that there's probably more opportunity to do so, more intelligent automation with a lot of the tools out there, especially solutions like MCP, which is being able to allow and connect data sets with AI and be able to carry out actions. How have you looked at from an automation agenda?
I can speak to how I am seeing this at Webflow. Every company, there's no one size fits all, depending on what maturity level you are at. The answer that I'll provide is different. So from Webflow's lens, when I first joined Webflow, there was the company had already invested in automation. The focus was a lot on engineering and product automation, and it was also fragmented. So when I first came in, there wasn't a very cohesive enterprise automation strategy. So my focus really has been in the last 9 months, if you would, is really to unify and then prioritize anything which is high impact, which is repeatable workflows. You want to be able to that I can scale and free up our employees to really work on the more innovative and creative work. That has been the focus. And when I see in the automation world, it is at Webflow today, if I can say, especially since I talked about me being responsible for the AI strategy at Webflow, we've had only one core vision for me. Like it's literally becoming an AI first company. And three pillars, if I would, at least for Webflow right now, is employee experience. So really onboarding, making sure the day one productivity, because we have grown by 30%, even in the months that I've been here. So, making sure that they can hit the ground running, access controls, all of that. Then the next one has been like a lot of finance and revenue operations. So in making sure systems are integrated, data is flowing through quote to cash, customer 360. So you can get the insights. So we can really drive data-driven decisions. And finally, of course, we talk about security and compliance, all like improving the security posture for all the applications and systems that we have today.
Fantastic. So, can I ask you a question? Look, the employee productivity is a key part of the CIO role. Um, how has that evolved when you have kind of taken on a couple of roles? Is there, different focus area? Are there solutions that out there that you think are okay? That's really been impactful. Are there things that you probably wouldn't do because it hasn't been delivered on a productivity gain? Like, how have you thought of that from a role of a CIO?
AI has really taken productivity at a whole different level. It has really helped us drive the pace and productivity that we couldn't have fathomed before the advent of the content generation. And it's not just content generation anymore. It's way beyond that. So really, in my mind, the productivity has gone through all pillars, like. Every single early, you think about co-pilots, you think about agents and assistants for the different roles that are out there, the business impact it's driven. So for things like, pipeline, like tons of examples around there. It's generating pipelines. It's like I am seeing, like we're using Augment and Cursor for code generation, and we're seeing 25%, 20 to 25% productivity gains. We're using case deflection tools across our customer support as well as our IT support, and I'm seeing like anywhere from 30 to 35% case deflections on the customer support side, and literally 60% on the IT operations side. So I'm seeing lots of productivity gains and leveraging just AI tools. So looking at the business first lens, if you will, there's tons of opportunities for productivity and pace, and even innovation. The velocity at which we are generating, innovating
Yeah.
product is huge. All the products, like the way we are shipping features, it's crazy.
Let me ask, how do you keep up with it? Seriously. I mean,
But
that has to be a challenge and then some, no?
I think the key, that's why, as I mentioned earlier, is really the key is unifying all of the asks and making
Right.
sure we're prioritizing. I think there are times when we have said, okay, we're going to let some fires burn because our focus is going to be, let's say, customer 360, so we can get the insights for our business partners. Then our focus is going to be really operations, driving efficiencies across revenue, or generating revenue through pipeline generation. So a lot those kind of examples really help us focus on things. And at Webflow, we've had only three focus areas, like driving enterprise growth, driving our digital experience platform. So making sure, and then of course the AI first company. So those three buckets, everything else falls off. So focus is the key, and
Right.
prioritization.
Well, I mean, look, at every technological shift, there's excitement. There's always going to be excitement. Sometimes doesn't wait for permission. So in SaaS, it was, of course, the aspect of kind of shadow IT, which sort of came into place. And I think kind of my viewpoint on that is eventually we kind of just embraced it. We're like, it's not shadow IT, it's just IT that's not under the control of IT. And we just
Yeah.
need to figure out what people need. But we kind of accepted that, as long as there is governance around it, by on the security side and on the data side, that actually people and departments and teams can have the tools that they basically need. I think the difference in this scenario is that something like OpenAI or Claude is
Yeah.
being used by every department, right? It's not like there is a unitary, like somebody said, oh, I'm going to be using Salesforce, and then there's going to be another version of Salesforce in marketing and another one in sales, another one in IT.
Yes.
There's probably people in your company and companies around the world, 500 million people using the damn thing.
Yes.
So how have you thought about, I don't want to call it shadow, but stuff that I would say the result of excitement around the use of AI and agents. Do you get requests often from
Yes.
people, other departments? Are you discovering new tools? And like, I don't know about this is, and let me speak to you stuff about it, or,
Yes.
but to just understand.
Yes, this is a great question. So I think with the advent of AI, there's tons of proliferation. I agree with you. There's no such thing as shadow IT anymore because we're taking technology to the business. So where their things are. So we have to enable them. I think the key is transparency and partnership. Transparency both ways and across the organizations, and then partnerships. Our role has become less so of trying to control, more so of becoming the center of excellence or having, as you mentioned, governance model, centralizing maybe intake and things like that, but making sure that we have enough skills in the different verticals to be able to federate some of these models. There are areas which are more complex, which we might want to centralize. There are areas which are easy to build. So, for example, the agentic AI platform, we have two. We have the easy ones where this is drag and drop, which we have federated, just have guardrails and center of excellence around each one of those platforms. But complex multi-systems, where we're building agents across systems, and there's complex and sensitive data involved. Those are the things we centralize. So I think with that, we're giving them we're empowering the business as well as partnering with them where they might need the help as well. So it's like people don't feel policed anymore. They're feeling empowered to be able to deliver with speed for areas which are low risk, and also be able to rely on us for where security and compliance becomes a bigger weighted item.
Okay, fantastic. So let's shift gears a little bit. I want to go into an area of, I would say, specialism for you, and you're probably very understated about it, but you understand revenue systems, kind of quote to cash, and in a way that most people don't. I mean, you help build these systems at companies like Symantec, and then worked for, a company in this space. Could I get a perspective from you about how you've seen, this market evolve? I'm sure that you could spot a good solution towards a bad one in the space, of a few seconds. But would just love some commentary on, how you've seen this market evolve, and whether you think there's a use case for AI that's going to really impact this area.
Absolutely. I think it is becoming very disruptive.
But I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry, because you deflect from any compliment that I ever give you. So I think it's important, please, to just talk a little bit about your experience, because
Sure.
you're one of those people who're like, well, I just revamped the entire revenue system. Please pass the salt at dinner. And I'm like, sorry, could you say that again? You just resulted like billions of dollars of transactions. So could you maybe share a little bit about your experience, because I think the audience would like a little bit of context about your expertise.
Absolutely. So I have delivered tons and tons of with like 22 plus M&As, and with that comes the entire revamping of quote to cash processes and the systems. It's like, and lots of ERP systems, so entire, all the way from selecting the right tools for the company to being able to implement the huge data migration that goes behind it, to being able to deliver the business outcome that we're looking for in order to enable our salespeople, drive the pipeline that is there, and be able to convert and get to the revenue enablement, and also retain customers So been in the go-to-market space for over a couple of decades now. So really excited about this space, and I'm seeing a huge shift now.
Right.
So
Because between us friends, we actually had a very complimentary nickname. We said CPQ stands for Chetna Productivity Quota.
oh my
Um,
god.
because we rather than configure price quote, because you've been so deeply involved in the space, we just thought it would be relevant. So sorry to interrupt, but what's the AI opportunity in accelerating revenue at companies when it looks at systems? Because clearly it's a priority for you at Webflow, which is
Yes.
about customer experience. You talk about customer experience, but let's think about how AI can accelerate revenue in some areas, and would love your take on that.
Absolutely. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. All the way from, so the way I think about any automation, it is process and data first before we get to the technology that is going to drive the automation of processes. So as you think about AI solutions, there is process mining tools. Then there's tons of data quality, data cleansing tools such as Clay that's come in, lead routing, being able to generate the right leads and pipeline, and all the way from now the technology has become so composable. There are agents that'll help. That there are sales agents, if you will, for a lot of platforms, and that they will just be an assistant to a sales rep that will help all the way through quoting and closing the opportunities. Then there is lots of pipeline generations where they do the outreach, tons of agents, and where they can identify the hot leads and be able to reach out and set up a demo on your calendars, and the next thing you know, you're talking to the reps that are most interested in or have been researching your product and things like that. So I just do feel that it's not about really replacing humans, but really augmenting every single role with a lot of intelligence. So
Where was the biggest pain point in the revenue process where you think there's an opportunity for AI? If you had the opportunity to build something from the ground up, where do you think that would be?
I think data quality is a big one. So I think really having
When it comes to data quality, this is not just structured data in systems, but unstructured data as well, right? I mean,
unstructured
this is a mess in enterprises. Is that fair to
conversation.
say?
Exactly. Conversations, like, like I know a lot of conversational tools have a lot of AI capabilities in there to summarize, to extract from conversations and build an account plan and things like that. Slack AI has come up with a lot of that. We have these dedicated channels that can do account planning across different roles. So tons of opportunities there to really curate the best in class leads and prospects that can be converted right away. And that, I think, just getting the top of funnel clean and clear and ready for the rest of the humans to go with it, that can help a lot. And then post sales, like a lot of areas where we can improve customer experience, whether it's through communities, reaching out to them, truly solving their problems, meeting them where they are, which is at different stages of their maturity. So I think those are the areas where we can really, really leverage the AI solutions. You will see tons of case deflections for customer support, case management, and things like that. Community building, enablement is another area where there's tons of synthetic videos, like avatars are there. You don't have to have a large enablement team anymore. They can run out of scripts and spit it out videos on different languages. Lots of AI solutions there as well.
But
Voice.
anyway, it's fair to say if you were trying to train a model, right? If you were
Yeah.
trying to build an internal solution with AI, if the quality of the data, so let's assume you were doing a contract negotiation solution, you would
Yes.
have to bring in a whole bunch of contracts in documents, which is unstructured data, to be able to do that.
Right.
You probably have a ton of garbage, so you probably need to clean some of that up before you do it. Right? Otherwise, you're just going to get hallucinations sort of coming
Data
into
is the
place.
king. Absolutely. Data is the king. And I'm seeing a lot of go-to-market teams. They are building lots of agents and AI agents where the data is like, we have terabytes and terabytes of data in our G Suite, in our Slack conversations, in all of these. And we're pulling data which may not be relevant. So it's skewing the outcome, and we may not be targeting the right or maybe not actioning the right insights. So it is very important to think about data archiving, data quality, enriching, making sure that I know we're not training data on our own models on our own data, but I think somewhere we need to compromise, like we need to create a balance there.
Right. Fantastic. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you for indulging my questions. Let's talk a little bit about, we're going to post this, and then, of course, a whole bunch of vendors are going to reach out to you. And so in the service of being able to make sure that I'm able to help you filter, this is the portion which helps you. It's not YK.ai yet, but it is providing you the filter. What has stood out to you from vendors who have come to pitch to you, whether it's a startup or it's a mature company? Like one or two things that resonates really well, and then one or two things that you absolutely should not do.
So when vendors come to me, what I look for is have they truly understand what's the problem we're trying to solve, rather than focusing on selling their product. I see that I really like vendors who partner with us, saying, okay, so let's look at this. And what also resonates with me really, really strongly, I'm a very data driven person, so metrics. If somebody says, this is going to drive pipeline generation, and I've seen conversions go up from 4 or 5 single digits to double digits in SaaS companies your size, or that does get my attention. Or if I'm able to get your case deflection, or we were able to reduce headcount acquisition by a certain number. Like we were thinking of growing by 30% in human population, and then it's really we can bring it down to 20%, or productivity gains. So things that we launch has gone up. I think that truly resonates with me. It's not about it's also about thinking about my customers. Like how am I positioning myself to be successful and enable my business partners? So thinking about those kind of things is really, really interesting. And I usually talk about talk to vendors who are immediately solving my problem at hand, because I
Right.
need to focus. So that's
Right.
important as well.
Right. Fantastic. So, and what is something that when it comes to CIO and buying, that you're like, please don't do this one thing.
I think what does it's okay for me to be introduced to vendors, and when I think this is funny. It says no means no is
Yes.
something that is very important to me. If I
Yeah.
see somebody's really after me, I just kind of lose interest, or just don't,
Right.
because I will reach out to them if I
Right.
think I have a need.
Right.
But
And so,
if
so listening is kind of important. Sounds
yes,
basic enough, right?
yeah. So I'm like, okay, no means no.
Right. Right. Okay. Totally get it. So,
Yeah.
well, let's shift gears a little bit. You've been here in the company for several months. It'll be hopefully be several years. How do you see the role evolving? How do you see the CIO role expanding? We've got lots of mutual friends in common. Some have taken the remit of, for example, have taken CIO, but they've also taken customer experience. Others have taken on, an additional function like marketing. Some have taken on operational functions, ranging from facilities right down to, finance in some cases, at least parts of it, or compliance. How do you see it expanding as a general role for CIOs?
Sure. I think CIOs are being seen at a different lens altogether. So we're no longer those, cost organizations where we were traditional technologists. We've really moved out of that role. And most of the forward-looking companies really see us driving business strategy, transforming our digital, digital workspace, and also changing culturally. So I think the way I see things is, we're also looking at when I think about our role, I think about not just technology, but I also think about how one of our core principles or guiding principles within corporate engineering and Webflow is leading with empathy. And so that's when you combine technology fluency with empathy. And what I mean by is not just people, not just understanding people type of empathy, but really empathy where you understand their processes, understand what are they, what's the problem they're trying to solve, and really, a solution is really not checking the box that requirements have been met, but really making sure that they met the purpose that they were looking. So it's very purpose driven, and making sure that we are enabling them and truly getting to where they needed to be. So I do think us transforming to a more strategic role, more of business decisions. If you think about it, I feel like we are the data at the table.
Yes.
We drive decisions. We drive decisions which we shouldn't be taking, and the decisions we should have taken sooner. So we really are driving these kind of like taking the company to its next level of growth and maturity.
What is one secret you wish more execs knew
I think
or
to
more
build,
CIOs knew?
yeah. So I think to build on the previous discussion, I think involving CIOs early on when you are taking a company public. Well, this is for the public companies, involving CIOs early on for any discussions. Where hiring CIOs well before they're thinking about public readiness. Then I just think that uh, today, none of the technology decisions, all technology decisions are really business decisions. As I already mentioned, we are the data at the table. So that's the one thing I'll tell the execs: involve CIOs early. And for the CIOs, I think this is something that we already talk about. I know you and I have talked about this in several forums. Is it's just not about technology or systems; it's really about outcomes. So making sure that we always think about from the business first lens what outcomes we are driving versus technology.
What is a question that you would want to ask a CIO if you were the CEO of a company? If that was your next chapter and you are looking to hire a CIO, you're well equipped to be able to do this. Let's assume that happens. What would be a question you would ask them where you'd be like, I really want them to know would like to know what the answer to this question is from that perspective?
That's a very good question. So I think in my mind, if I'm a CEO and I've been in the role of a CIO, I would really get their insights. It's like, where do you think our product is? Is our strategy aligned with, do we have a product market fit? And how can we enable our employees, whether it is through technology, through processes, to be able to get to the vision that we have put forward? It's just like, what are we not seeing? What's the blind spot that I'm not seeing and I need to know to make the right decision for the company?
Fantastic. Are you able to share which company, other than Webflow, you have probably learned the most in your experience?
Good question. So I would say, so I would say Symantec.
Right.
I'll say that because I came from very large companies like Boeing and Sun Microsystems. And then Symantec was at that time the smallest company I'd ever worked for. And I experienced both consumer side of the business, the enterprise side of the business. I got different business models. I got exposure to lots of, like we did 7 M&As. So lots of exposure to M&As and lessons learned around that. And how do you bring two cultures, like things like Blue Coat and Symantec were two separate cultures. How do you bring those together? Sheila is a great mentor for me, and she is the chief digital officer at Honeywell right now, but amazing mentor. I learned a lot from her. So, and then moving on to shifting, being CIOs in fast-growing startups and smaller companies and SaaS companies. Because before that, I was always in hardware, software combined. So being in the SaaS world, I feel like I can bring in that maturity and that structure, but also with that agility and innovation that a SaaS company needs. So I think it was a great learning moment for me and turning point where I just feel that was a great learning bed for me.
Fantastic. Well, look, first of all, thank you for your time. What we are going to do is to go through a rapid fire lightning round. I hope you're ready for this. This is the most intellectual part of the entire discussion. And
Absolutely.
so I really you just can't think to it. You just got to give us straight from the hip. Wow. Okay. All right. RevOps or SalesOps?
RevOps.
Okay.
Always.
Are you a reader or are you a writer?
Reader.
Okay. VHS or DVD?
Neither.
Okay. LLM or M&Ms?
M&Ms always.
Really, well done. And last but not least, sweater vest or cardigan? And our friendship depends on this answer.
Oh my God. I have to say vest, right?
No, you don't have to say anything. It just depends on whether you want to still be friends with me or not. So is it sweater vest or cardigan? What's it going to be?
Vest.
It's clear that is such a hard thing for you to say that we'll basically take that as a cardigan lover and not a sweater vest lover.
All right.
But we will remain friends for the longest of times. Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, listen, first of all, thank you for making time. It's been super, super insightful and useful. I think lots of takeaways, both for aspiring CIOs, definitely for vendors, people and companies, of course, that are thinking about everything from automation to revenue platform. Is it fair to say that if people emailed you and said discount code Yusuf, that Webflow would basically recognize it? Would I be a potential SKU?
Absolutely.
in your CPQ?
Yes.
Would that work?
Family discount for friends.
This is the geekiest line that I could be. Could I be a SKU in your CPQ? Think about that. Think about that as a pitch. Okay.
You will be.
I appreciate that very, very much. Okay. Well, listen, thank you very, very much. Really appreciate you having you there, and look forward to talking to you and seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Likewise. Have a good one.